welcome to One Man's Opinion. Today I am reviewing the world premiere of Fool's Paradise, produced by Thronestone Theatre Company, written by Jonathan Winn, directed by James Dean Palmer, and running through May 10th at the Crystal Theatre at 66 Bayview Avenue in Norwalk, Connecticut. Help turn my Patreon page into a paradise where you can, for as little as $1 a month, support my work here as well as my classic cinema podcast, Yesterday's Matinee. Patrons get early access to the latest episode of the podcast, early quick reviews of all my reviews here, and the occasional extra feature. Thank you to my current patrons, especially my Neo and Hamilton tier patrons, and welcome to the new ones. Links to my Patreon and podcast pages will be in the description. Being a new work, Fool's Paradise has potential to develop into a compelling drama on the oblivious nature of the privileged during times of cataclysm. As it stands, the play has good concepts that I would like to see develop deeper and some science that should probably be taken into consideration to push the plot a bit further. Set in a room at a luxury resort, either on or near the island of Puerto Rico, Fool's Paradise follows two couples staying at the resort. In one room are Wendy and Marc, played by Julia Atwood and Allan Hayhurst, where the action happens on stage. Wendy is looking to bring some spark back to her marriage, but Marc is aghast at the idea of staying at such a swanky and, as he perceives it, wasteful resort. He is aggressively preoccupied with the environmental impact of the resort that they are staying at versus noticing his wife, who is basically throwing herself at him. Their next-door neighbors at the resort are their friends, Lorraine and Bill, played by Deanna, Eskelson, and Stephen Hauck. The two are a bit older and well-off and are enjoying the blissful nature of drinking piña coladas and snorkeling. Their vacation turns into an apocalyptic nightmare when a nuclear bomb goes off in Puerto Rico's capital of San Juan. Armed with no other information, the foursome can't reach their families back home and must sequester themselves on site, finding a way to survive as the native people on the island begin to riot and fight for supplies, threatening to break into the now compounded resort, where supplies will eventually run out. There is also the added complications of nuclear fallout and a personal health concern revealed by Wendy. On the surface, Fool's Paradise has a lot of potential. There are some fundamental problems with the show, though, that should probably be addressed. The biggest issue for me is the balance of drama and comedy. There's a fundamental choice to make here. Will the play be a dark comedy or a serious drama? And I think the play hasn't quite found its voice here in that regard. A lot of it has to do with the unlikability of most of the characters. The one sympathetic character is Wendy, who seems to have some handle on the severity of what's going on. Marc is too preoccupied with things that don't matter anymore. Bill is too laissez-faire with what's going on, and Lorraine is a bit of a bigot. Now, are these characteristics that make for bad theater? No. But if you're going to have unlikable characters that take up the bulk of the time on stage, they've got to be worth investing time in. Otherwise, the audience is going to turn on them and hope they die a painful, horrible death. If they were a bit more over the top, satirizing their personalities a bit more while increasing the stakes, I think Fool's Paradise can be a pretty powerful black comedy in the spirit of something like Dr. Strangelove. As I said, part of it is increasing the stakes. A simple example is the gun that comes into the story. Chekhov would be disappointed with its lack of use. Also, the winds shift and fallout comes over to their part of the island. Marc and Bill end up going out for supplies in some semblance of hazmat suits. Now, being a Navy veteran, I have had training in chemical, biological, and radiological warfare, and there are protocols that aren't being attended to by the two of them to prohibit contamination. This is understandable. They wouldn't have the knowledge on how to properly fit a suit or decontaminate themselves after direct exposure. Also, the foursome's half-hearted attempts at sealing the perimeters of their rooms aren't going to do them much good either. Now, I'm not saying that anything that the characters do and how they are presented in the story in this regard is wrong. I'm fine with what their actions are in regards to trying to protect themselves, but they are ignorant as to how to properly take care of themselves, and there should be repercussions to these actions. Or more accurately, to their ignorance. Radiation sickness will kick in within days to weeks, and considering Wendy's condition would only increase the stakes and drive more importance to the gun and its potential use. The cast does a good job performing the roles as they are. Julia Atwood in particular is good as Wendy, who has the most to work with in a developed character. I really felt for her as she longs to get her marriage back on track. Stephen Hauck, I think, does the best at capturing the humor of the play, especially early on as he gives Bill an ignorantly optimistic nature that brings out some solidly funny moments throughout. The best thing going for the show at the moment is the design. Marcelo Martinez-Garcia has created an excellent set, capturing a sleek, polished resort hotel room that feels almost like a high-end spa. I also like Brenda Phelps' mostly tropical costume design, and there are some great lighting effects by Abby May, particularly the lights that depict the fourth wall, which is a large window with blinds that rise and lower, depicted by lighting effects. Like I said, Fool's Paradise has potential. There are the workings of a great play hidden within. I think it needs some refinement and further development in the script that takes deeper accounts of the severity and maybe up the humor to balance out the less likable traits of the characters. But I'm only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you'd like to see Fool's Paradise, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get tickets. Also in the description will be links to my Patreon and podcast pages, as well as my social media handles where you can support my work. You can also support me by liking and sharing this video, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be Goodspeed Musicals' production of Ragtime. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.